Welcome to episode 461 of the Tilehurst podcast. We are back. We have not died. We are not in a Reading FC induced coma. We are back. We are.
No,
we
hang
are
on a minute.
raring
Hang
to
on a
go.
minute. That might have happened. We might have been in a Reading FC induced coma.
Maybe we planned to do a season review, and then we just thought between us, what is the point? And we're not. It's not going to be a negative pod. Like, we're going to try and pick the bones out of things that have happened since we've been away. Since we were in. Well, with Neil Peters, we did Neil Peters after.
Yeah, we did
didn't
Neil Peters
So we did
afterwards.
that, and
Yeah.
we've got a lot to say about One Royal, which we will do in due course. But welcome back. We are still here. Thank you for your patience. Hopefully you haven't missed us too much. I'm Ben, obviously. Ross is there in his
And I'm Jarrell Kwanzaa.
Yeah, exactly, in his England shirt. Ross, how have you been, you old sausage? What have you been up to?
I've been very well. I've been kind of engaging in my summer football project. So lots of Hearts of Pine content, obviously, going on Instagram, on In the Pines, if you want to watch me being an idiot.
Good. It's good.
It's
I like
fun,
it.
yeah. It's now like a good 30 degrees outside most of the time that I go out to film those. So you can
Celsius.
watch... Yeah, Celsius. So you can watch me sweating my booty off as I do that through the summer. So that's fun. And then shout out Tonka United, who've started their 11v11 season. I'm coaching a team of amateurs over the summer. Normally, obviously, I'm coaching kiddos, and I am coaching kiddos as well through the summer. But team of amateur adults, which is a lot of fun. When was the last time you played 11v11 out of interest?
Well, I'll tell you what I did do the other week. I played, we did Dads v Lads, which apparently is strictly
that.
forbidden by the FA.
Yeah.
Not allowed to do that. But
Interesting.
it was the day when it was really hot
Okay.
in the middle of the heat wave. So it was like the Tuesday, and it was ridiculous. It was like 38 degrees or something. It felt like that. And there was 3 dads, and then some of the lads playing. It was intense. Played it at Prospect Park. If anyone knows Prospect Park, those cages are unforgiven. They really are. So
Well, you played it in cages.
yeah. So it was just a
okay.
kickabout, but it went in ebbs and flows really, and a few water breaks. About 2 hours, I think we were playing. So
Did you get your bottoms handed to you?
no, it was all right. I mean, it's difficult keeping up with quick 11-year-olds, and we're all like 40 or
Yes.
whatever.
Yep.
You know, scored some goals. Don't want to go on about it, but you know, just taught them a thing or two about how to strike a ball.
Right. That's
But
good.
11v11, I mean, long time ago.
Most players in this group too haven't played 11v11 in a while. It's a really odd like kind of thing. Like you play it for a little bit if you make it that far in like youth football, but then you don't really play that much. Other than that, you kind of play five-a-side or stuff like that. So just the fitness levels have been interesting. And I can't say that 30 degrees Celsius every day is the best time of the year to be working on your fitness. It's a little bit too hot. But hey, it's a lot of fun. Every kids versus dads and mums game that I've been a part of has normally ended with the adults taking a lead, and then eventually the kids just being able to run for so much longer than the adults, and that kind of skewing the game as it went on. So was it similar to that?
Yeah, it was nice. Like, we're just sort of coaching the boys through it at times and having a bit of a laugh. It's good. Like, it's good, you know, when you're playing with your son as well.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, it's 2-on-1 and I'm the extra one and he's refusing to pass and then skies it. You know, I'm obviously going to give him a mouthful, aren't I? You know, like he had the spare man, which was me. Could have slid it in. He took the glory.
This is
You know, he's going to get a mouthful. It's
Right,
just the way it should be.
Yeah, exactly. He has to learn, and he'll learn from you yelling at him.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly
Yeah.
right. So, yeah. And you got bitten by a tick, didn't you?
I did get bitten by it's been a really weird ticky summer. Has it been tick heavy in the UK as well?
Haven't come across any ticks.
You haven't come
No,
across
not
any.
yet.
There's like Maine is one of the worst places in the world for them, but yeah, I've been bitten
It's
by.
it's a hotbed. It's a nest of ticks.
It is like it's a tick mess over here. It's ticking over into disaster, and it's just not fun. But yeah, I got bit by tick. I got bit by 3 ticks actually, but one of them seems to be a little bit more worrying than the other. So that's not why we've been gone. But we have both been in the hospital or in the doctor's office recently.
Well,
Are you doing all right?
Yeah. So last week I was driving to work and I had like chest pains. So pulled over and it's probably nothing, but you don't want to take your chance, when you kind of 41 or whatever I am these days, and went to the doctor same day. I've had like weird stomach pains as well, which I think is probably all to do with like excess acid. But anyway, long story short, had a couple of tests done, had some more done today. I haven't had a blood test for years and years and years, right?
Yeah.
Effectively fainted after I'd had my blood taken.
That's what I do,
So
yeah.
that was really good. So that was really
careful,
embarrassing.
Yeah.
And then to make it matters worse, I had to have an ECG, which measures I think it's the electrocardio thing in your heart. And I was supposed to have that straight after the blood test. And she realised she couldn't do it because I got a hairy chest. So I had to come home, shave my chest, and go back. Honestly, my chest looks like a patchwork at the moment. It's horrendous, right? So okay. I was like, how much more degrading could it be? Like, right. In front of a lovely old Irish woman at Western Elm Surgery. For anyone who doesn't know, the doctors are great doctors.
I thought you were going to say that she shaved your chest for you.
No,
she sent you back to shave your chest.
I was like, right, so I've got to go all the way back to Tilehurst and then come back. So that's what I did.
How did you feel when you? I mean, like, I've asked you, like, when was the last time you did 11v11? When was the last time you shaved your chest?
Well, I haven't
ever. Yeah,
I might occasionally trim it, but yeah, I had to properly shave, so it literally looks like a patchwork quilt at the moment.
My word! All right.
So it's been a mess. So we're on the mend. We're still here spiritually and emotionally, and you've got all the news now as listeners.
Yep,
which is
that's
great.
it. So we'll see you next time.
Yeah, well, we'll get there. We have to say one final thank you, actually, on this pod. We're not leaving, don't worry, or gutted, because we're not. CZ Films are drawing their sponsorship of us to a close. Yes. They have been phenomenal. I think they've been with the fan site, and we are a fan site, we're not just a pod. There's a bunch of articles that you can read that have been out over the last few weeks. They've been with us since the start in 2011. And we obviously don't know Waldy very well. He was more kind of friend and associate of Wim, who you all know, and Mark Mayo, who's heavily involved with the pod as well. So he's decided to step away. So I just want to take this opportunity. We want to take this opportunity as current hosts of this podcast to say thank you very much, because it's been fantastic to have your support over the last 3 years of what we've had. As we always say, financial, emotional, spiritual, all that kind of stuff. So thank you to Waldy and his team for sponsoring us and believing in us. Totally get why, you're stepping away. But, thank you so much for everything. We are on the lookout for a new sponsor, ideally someone local. So if you know of anyone and anyone would be interested in sponsoring the pod, we're not asking for thousands.
No.
What would seal the deal? Bag of Watsits, maybe? Something like that?
A green bathtub and some Haribo Star Mix. I mean, we can. I think on sponsorships, like obviously it falls on me really as unfortunately the editor of the podcast, not the whole site, thank God, to kind of come up with, well, not to come up with, but to provide you with things. We can, of course, for sponsors, provide you with clips, things like that, sponsored segments, all kinds of things like that, if that's something that you're
stings,
interested in.
We'll get Wim to do you a couple of stings.
We'll get Wim's lovely vocal cords around some stings for you.
It's exactly. Like liquid gold.
Right, exactly. See, that could be the difference between your business taking off and falling into the... So you make sure, and we're great at ad reads. So
we are good. We always promote you. So and obviously we've still got our partners, Siren Craft Brew, who are gearing up for a massive summer of football, pizza, and beer. So check their website out. You've still got the discount code TheTilehurst10 for 10% off. So if you want to stock up before the World Cup, please do.
Had a blast there, by the way, at the
that was great, wasn't it? We haven't talked about that, have we? Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, no, and thank you to everyone who watched that or listened to that podcast, because I know it did well. And yeah, it was a really great event. It was lovely to meet a bunch of you. If I haven't followed up with people that I said that I would, it's just because I'm lazy. It's not because of anything you said.
It is personal.
It is personal though. It's personal, but it's personal to me. But yeah, no, it was really, really great. And also the beer is phenomenal.
It's delish.
It is really good.
That's like liquid gold, actually.
It's funny, like I asked you guys if it was an American owner over there, because a lot of the beer that we released that I got to taste was very similar to like some of the American pale ales and IPAs and things that I
Yeah.
drink over here. And I know there's like a there was certainly in the previous generation, it may still be there, a perception about American beer that it is swill water. And there are certainly a lot
I
of
like
swill
it.
water brands. There's a lot of good American beer, and this tasted like good American beer.
Yeah.
So
Have you
so
had
yeah.
have you had a Budweiser? I like Budweiser. It's good. You should try
Well,
it someday.
yeah, I've heard of Budweiser. You've had Miller
For the
Lite.
record, I
It's
don't
delicious.
actually. I don't like Bud. I don't like Bud at all. I
I don't
can't get
mind
on with
Bud.
it.
It's fine.
Pabst Blue
Bud
Ribbon,
Light, Pabst. Oh, actually, I do like a PBR. PBR is
yeah.
really. I mean, like
PBR
PBR.
Tall Boys.
It's good stuff. Over here at the moment, it's got it's got Mecha Godzilla on the case for
Nice.
PBR. Yeah, so you get more bang for your buck and more lizard breath for your buck.
Lizard breath. Right, we've done 11 minutes of something that is completely unrelated to Reading Football Club. So you've been starved for what, 4 weeks of this amateurish shambles of a podcast, unprofessional
Right.
joke of a podcast. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk. We talk the main things. We're going to do a little bit of World Cup as well, because we are. Well, by the time you listen to this, it'll be the morning of the World Cup. How exciting is that?
Well,
He's got his
is it the
stickers. I've got my book.
morning
There.
of one? Yeah, there you go. There you go.
We'll talk about that in a
Sitting
minute.
on.
I want to see what yours looks like as well, so we do that.
Yep.
So yeah, we're going to get into episode 461 after this short break. Right, Ross. The last time we were together on a pod was with Mr. Neil Peters, who is the managing director of the football club, who was sharing his views ahead or straightly after the One Royal release.
Right
Don't know.
after the One Royal announcement.
Right after release,
Yeah.
fine, okay. It's obviously been the topic of the summer. There's really nothing else to really, I say, get excited about. But there's been no signings. Obviously, players leaving. We'll talk about that in a minute. There's been very few rumours around players coming in, but One Royal has been the subject that's dominated all of the social feeds, conversations, everything about it. We were invited to a meeting 2 days before launch, which was essentially a presentation meeting. And as we said, and as I said, probably Ross said as well on the pod with Neil, on paper it looked all right. What has transpired though is that there were some key details that were not shared with us in that meeting, which we won't go into now. You can probably work out what they were. But it's fair to say, Ross, that the whole package has not gone down well at all with the fans. Why?
I think, as we said to them and as you said to them during that meeting, but as anyone outside could have probably told them from Reading Football Club too, I think the problem is that everything in football stems from what fans are seeing on the pitch. And because the season ended in a way that many people were unhappy with, it was a difficult time to come out and release anything. I think there's two other key points to it, which I'll just quickly touch on. I think that the Star certainly made it part of their statement, and I think other fans have expressed this sentiment too, is that there maybe should have been a little bit more consultation with supporters groups and things like that ahead of really formulating the plans and things like that, just to kind of point out where some of the flaws in the system may have been, because I think there are benefits too, and we should discuss those, but certainly there are some flaws in the system, and the primary one, which is the kind of last point I'll get to here, is loyalty points. And Reading fans in the past have been jumpy for a good reason when it comes to loyalty points, because they want, obviously, the only thing that really determines whether you receive them is buying a ticket to the game and going to the game. Obviously, that is changing with the elite, all the tiers and things like that. And if there's one thing that I guess, as I listened back to our interview with Neil Peters, that I wish that I myself had pushed harder on, it would be to get him to understand that, these loyalty points are set up to allow elite members to get more points, and that was always going to go down extremely poorly with Reading fans. Now I think that like a lot of the guys who have come into the club in the last since Kuwait came over, basically, are really, really, good people doing good work. I think there's been a lot of improvement in the club over the last year. And I think that Neil, I was very impressed with Neil in general, getting to meet him over the last few weeks, because I think he's got his heart in the right place. But I do think that's where having somebody that's been around the club for a long time becomes very important, because they should have been able to explain to people that Reading fans feel strongly about the loyalty points. So, yeah, I guess
I think the consultations is really key, because, the club, when they released one rule, said that there was consultation. Now, I'm not particularly in touch with any other fan groups or fan sites or podcasts from this club anymore. Wasn't really to start with. I was obviously once upon a time was involved with Star, but not regular communication now. So, to my knowledge, limited knowledge, none of the group that were at that presentation, none of the groups that were at the presentation, so Star, us, the other podcast, Disabled Supporters Association.
Just to jump in there, Ben, didn't the club try to form like a group of fans last year that they could go to?
They did, and the thing is that if they did seek consultation, there has not been any mention of individuals on social media. And I know that's not the be all and end all, but it is a big proportion of our fan base, and we can debate that all day long, but it is. None of those were asked. None of the groups that I've just mentioned were consulted throughout the process. If they have consulted with a group, it would be that the supporters advisory group or whatever it is, but we don't know who they are, and they're not vocal. I'm not expecting them to shout from the rooftops, this is what I'm doing, but there doesn't seem to be the noise coming from that group saying, yeah, we were, and we said this, and this.
Right.
And the problem is that, without going on a bit of an ego trip, those supporters groups that were around that table, whether they're good, bad, indifferent, whatever, are formed of people that know the club very well and have been around the club for a very, very long time. So, asking those group of, or those individuals, along with people that are not part of supporters groups, if you look down a list and went, right, these people got this amount of points, they've been going for a long time, this person goes home and away, let's ask them, see what they think about the points or see what they think about the process, because it could have been co-constructed. And what's happened is, Paul Collins, who is a great guy, he's the head of ticketing, lovely guy, has been put in front of the camera and has been asked a question, which you will see on the website in terms of the interview and an article, and basically said that, supporters weren't consulted. Well, which one is it? That kind of, that misinformation and that misalignment in terms of what's our narrative as a football club becomes very, very difficult to defend if they're, if they're saying one thing one week and then saying the opposite the next week. It's very, very difficult to justify any wholesale changes that are big or small. And the problem is that those loyalty points are important. And I've been honest, when they first came in, I accrued loads because I was up and down the country every week, post children. I've not been going to a lot of away games for obvious reasons.
Can't tell.
Well, yeah, but my experience of going to a match, should be ultimately lesser in terms of loyalty points than people like Sim and other people that go up and down the country every single week, as well as home games. Like there should be that tier. They brought in this weird thing about legacy points,
yeah.
But the whole thing really has not been handled very, very well. And the thing I can't get my head around is, if you're buying a season ticket, whether that's part of just an outright season ticket or it's part of the core or the plus or elite or whatever, if you don't go to the games having handed over your money, you don't get the points for that game. I
You
find
have
that
to like
incredible
hand
because
over. You have to tell them, right? Like
yeah,
24 hours
and
in
you get
advance.
5 points if you do. So if I give my season
Yeah,
ticket
so
to
it's not
you,
as many. Yeah.
I get 5 points, right? But I can't understand that. I really, really can't understand that. And that's the thing that I think, doing a quick temperature test has really upset people. Yeah, we can argue all day that some of those features of the higher up tiers aren't worth it in inverted commas, but that's open to interpretation, right? What everyone seems to be in agreement on is actually if you support the club by buying a season ticket, and don't forget it is support, like it's still money, it's still a
100%.
commitment that you're doing. If you don't go through the turnstile and you scan your ticket, you don't get the points, and I can't understand it. I don't see what difference it makes to the football club. In previous years, I think I can't remember how many it was, but like last season when you buy a season ticket, you got a lump sum of
Right.
loyalty points. Yeah, why not do it that way again? I don't understand why you would change that to a system that was sort of working quite well up until the legacy points came in. And it's just changing it for changing its sake. Like, I sort of understand the business sense of wanting to secure money each month. Makes sense to me. But the loyalty points thing, it just blows my mind. It really does. And
I think
it's scoring an own goal. That's all it is.
the biggest issue with it for me is kind of charging money for more points, right? Like that's an issue. I don't, like there's not that much difference. I mean, obviously the club would tell you that the hospitality and they'd like to sell more hospitality tickets, but there's not that much difference in price between the lowest area of the ground and the highest priced area of the ground at Reading. Like, it's not like in America where you're dealing with, like $60 for seats in the gods and then like $300 to $500 for seats like much closer. You don't have that range. If you had that massive range of pricing, I might be able to see a little bit more clearly why they'd say you get more loyalty points if you are going into these high price seats, because at the end of the day you would be pumping quite a lot more money into the club than somebody sitting out in the gods. It's just not the same for Reading, and I think that the loyalty points has been kind of the spark that has made people get a little frustrated with looking at some of the other stuff. My overall takeaway from this, after having like a month really to kind of think about it, is that it's a little bit too much too soon, but the bones of a good idea are here. So I think the monthly subscription stuff is actually genius. Great idea, both for cash flow reasons for the club, but also because like that makes it easier for some families. We've already know, I think Wim is doing the monthly subscription, and he just went with the basic or core subscription, whatever it's called, so it's not increasing his cost. He's just splitting it across the season. I think that's a great idea. People are used to like buy now, pay later and things like that in this day and age. So I definitely think that's a good idea. I think the extras aren't that enticing, so I think that makes the added value that you get from like the more expensive tiers look a little worse, and then I think beyond that, the loyalty point thing, again, I'm coming back to the same point over and over again, that is, I think that the extras are not amazing, but like that's not the big thing that people are upset about. I don't think people care that much about extras, to be honest. I think they just want to watch their team.
I don't think we're a big enough club to really entice people. I mean, you're right. No. I think there are. When I saw it originally, I was like, "Wow, you do that and you get a free home shirt. Fantastic." Obviously, it's not free because you're paying for it.
Right.
But like,
you might actually pay more for it.
Well, yeah, exactly. But the fact that's included on first glance, you go, wow, that's pretty cool, actually. If you want the home shirt and you get it as part of the package. The other thing, obviously, is about the entry to academy games and some of those cup games. And I would imagine, the Glamour tie against Charlton Athletic on the 1st of August at home as a pre-season will be included as well. But it's very, very difficult to justify. We're not a global club to go. Definitely, if I'm driving around, I don't know, Amsterdam or whatever, and I've got a bumper sticker that says Reading FC, like, yeah, bring it on. If I'm driving around Tilehurst with it, I'm just going to look like an idiot. So it's one of those. We're not a big enough club to offer pencil cases and goodie bags and all this kind of. It's not a seller for us. It's really, really not.
And it's tough when like prize draws and events are part of it too, because like I don't care that much about Silverstone personally. I'm just not that into it.
If I want to watch cars go around, I'll go and sit on the IDR. Do you know what I mean? I'm not interested in cars.
Exactly.
So it is tricky. But But look, it's live. I think there's a week left, is there, or just a couple of days left to buy your tickets at frozen prices or whatever. I genuinely think they will extend it because I don't think the sales will have gone. I mean, I've no idea how many they've sold in terms of packages or even season tickets. But I don't think it's gone the way that they anticipated it to.
I don't think sales can have gone as they wanted them to. I could be wrong about that, and hopefully I am, honestly, because I'd rather have the stadium be more full. But I will say I think part of that is down to, I've been talking about this for like 3 years, but the small cuts of relegation that get to fans, I think they're just 200, 300 more fans each year will just get sick of watching League One, especially when because one of the main issues that we identified last year was that the league is crap, but Reading still can't win. So we would stink up the place against bad football teams, and it's just, I was at that Blackpool match on the last day of the season.
It's trash.
It's just bad football, all around.
It's
neither team was playing good football.
And had they got rid of Liam, in their season review, which I generally thought they would have done, they might have had an uptick and people might be a bit more buzzing, but we haven't signed any players, which, all right, okay, 11 other clubs in League One have, so there's one of those really, half the clubs haven't, but what we're being promised at the moment does not instantly go, here's my wallet, take everything. It's one of those, and I think, again, as I said earlier, it is an own goal, because whilst they shouldn't be led by fans all the time, because it becomes emotional and it doesn't become objective from a business sense and from an operational sense, when everyone is saying the same thing about the manager and he's been linked with higher up clubs in the pyramid as well, I just get rid of it. Yeah, he was linked with Blackburn heavily.
Oh, he was, okay.
And Lincoln sniffed around a little bit. I think there was a rumour, but honestly, anytime I hear it, I'm just straight on it.
Yeah,
I was on the Lincoln tourist page.
Showing up at his house, ready to drive him down. All right, mate, I've got you some Leon Cafe for the meal, for the trip.
Exactly. I'd give him a Lion bar and shake his hand and say thanks very much.
Give him a little pat on the butt and watch him go.
Yeah, but the whole thing is, I think, come August the 8th, whenever the season starts, Liam will be in the dugout, and from our point of view as podcast hosts, we're just going to have to get on with it, as every other fan is. And that's not really filling me, and I'm sure it isn't with you, Ross, in terms of excitement for the season coming up. It's going to be a difficult league next year, really difficult league.
I think I've said maybe on this podcast ages ago, but just to give a preview, when we get to the season previews, this will be the first year that I'm not predicting us to make the playoffs or any kind of promotion push, just so that you guys know.
Lump on, listeners, top 2 is coming in.
Yeah,
it's coming in,
and exactly. So get in on it, because I don't know what I'm talking about.
We're about 60-1 to win outright. Do it. Lob a tenner on it.
Yeah, get it in.
Don't do that. I'm not encouraging people to bet. I'm not doing that. Yeah. Talking of on the pitch stuff and everything else. One rumour, and it is a rumour that's circulated, and we're not going to pay too much attention to it, but Yakou Meite has posted a photo of him wearing a Reading shirt. We've talked about, ex-players coming back and particularly him and what he did for the club, and a bit of a cult player in some respects. I think there are some fans that think he's better than he was. I think there's some fans that think he was worse than he actually was. Would you take him back in any capacity at the club? Would you?
Hell yeah. I said the start of last season too. I'd definitely take Meite back. I think the thing about Meite is that on top of being what he is as a player, he just seems like a fun guy to have around in the locker room. I think that he's charismatic. I think that other players like him. I think it seems like he was pretty well liked by the players, at least in Cardiff as well. I don't necessarily know that he and the fans ever really saw or fully eye to eye.
Brutal at Cardiff, the fans were. Players, I think they bowled.
I think he got on with the players quite well, because it looked like he had quite a lot of support when he came back from various, injury layoffs and things like that. Meite is kind of like the energy that you want in your locker room, and I think you need a few players like that. I think that the experience that we tried to put into the changing room last year was a lot of kind of older hands and guys that had been around higher leagues and things like that, and that's great. But I think that Meite as well as having experience, comes with the perspective of having that experience being in lower leagues for the entirety of his career. So I don't think that he would get too, Billy big balls about having to run and chase down people in League One or anything like that. I'm kind of talking nonsense there, and we'll get onto Matt Ritchie later because he was obviously one of the experienced heads brought in for this season just gone. But yeah, I think that Meite offers you a little bit of experience, but also in terms of players who are going to be motivated to push Reading back up the divisions, he would certainly be one of those guys. And again, I think he's a pretty good locker room presence. Whether he is on the field the same player that he was when he was with us previously, I don't know, and I doubt it. But at the same time, as we keep saying, this league is not that good, which means that he would still probably make starting lineups for at least half the league right now. And if that is the case, I'd say that he's a pretty good depth player for Reading to bring in. I can't even remember who were even running at right wing at the end of the season, like Paddy Lane sometimes, or Chirwa. Obviously,
Chirwa was a bit,
yeah. But I don't think. I think most of those players work better off the left. The idea of having like Chirwa one side and Meite the other side of Jack Marriott, there's a lot of dynamic running in there that could create some really good chances for Marriott.
Yeah, well, I mean, you just use the word dynamics. That's not going to happen in this current setup, is it? Liam's gone, are you a flair player? Get out.
Get in the sea. Get in the sea.
That was a question from Dan Pollard, actually. I've kind of jumped around into the mailbag, but that was one of the questions or the question that he asked. A lot of fans really like Yakou, don't they?
I love Yakou.
Look, when he was here, very, very fond of him. The other one is obviously Tom McIntyre as well, who I think had an okay career. I think he's much maligned again. A little bit like the Kush Gunter syndrome in terms of actually what they brought to the table and how people see him after they leave. There are going to be some difficult rumours coming round, and there's always going to be these ex-players that kind of either say they want to come back or someone says they want to come back or whatever. And I think that just tells you the state of football, particularly with Tom. He went off to Portsmouth, didn't work out. He's been bounced around quite a lot in terms of teams. We're going to talk a little bit about World Cup Reading connections later on in the pod. But again, Tyler Binden's another one. It's not worked out for him since he's left. So
he did all right in the end. He had a bad start this season, and then he really started to. He got a big run of games, and now he's there. Obviously, in the World Cup. No, yeah,
Sorry,
he pushed on. No, that's okay. Apparently, he just needed Ruben to get out of the way, and then actually ended up having a pretty good season in the end. I have both Meite and McIntyre's jerseys. I liked both of those players a lot. I would not take McIntyre back personally. I think that that's not a story that needs anything else adding on to it here in Reading, whereas Meite, I think that there's still a chance that he could impact the first team.
Unfinished business.
Yeah, I at this point, I would see Tom McIntyre as a backup option to Gerald Dorset, and I think that people already want Gerald Dorset to be the backup option. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
One player that is finished, Matt Ritchie, out, gone. I think the biggest shock with that retained and release list was that he was given a longer term contract, which is, I don't know, not good business. I don't like Matt Ritchie as a player. I don't think he offered anything really to us at all.
He did give us some assists last year. It has to be.
Yeah, but,
Tyler Binden started 22 games in the end last year. Sorry,
Tyler Binden?
Tyler Binden.
I missed that.
22. Tyler Binden started 22 games last year, mostly in the second half of the season, when he had a big long run in the team. Played every game for Sheffield United in February and March. So yeah, not a bad season for him, and was very excited to see him play against England last week.
He did. Well, as I said, we're gonna talk about the World Cup in a minute and connections. But yeah, Matt Ritchie's gone, done. I think the biggest surprise was that he was given a longer term contract than possibly anyone when he came in. Realistically, was never going to be able to see that through in terms of age and performance level, and Bournemouth have decided to take him back in a top office role. Bothered by that loss, Ross?
A little bit. I know, obviously, like he
Knew
wasn't
you were going to say that.
not for the Matt Ritchie of it all. I'll say that much. I'm not bothered about it because I desperately wanted Matt Ritchie, in this team again next season. But there is production to replace. Matt Ritchie was our second. I mean, this tells you everything about how dire Reading were going forward last year. But Matt Ritchie came in second for assists for Reading last year. He did that with just 862 minutes played. Kamari Doyle was next on that list, and he had over 2,500 minutes played. So really gives you a sense of like.
So basically, what you're saying is there is no assists in the team anymore. Then
There's no assists left in the team. No,
That's it.
yeah, it's not an ideal place to be in. I'll just say that much. You're gonna hate this because they're almost all gone. They're definitely gonna go. Lewis Wing was number one with 11, obviously, because he's the only thing that still works on the pitch at Reading Football Club. And then it was Matt Ritchie, Kamari Doyle, and Charlie Savage. Wave goodbye to those assists, lads. They are on the chopping room floor. Yeah. So Reading have got a lot to do to replace, some of that kind of creative production, because I think that was part of what was missing this year. I think that Harvey Nibbs was a big miss. I think that Harvey allowed Reading to win the ball higher up the field and just have more attacks because they didn't have as far to go on the pitch when they won the ball back. But really, there wasn't really anyone who stepped forward to kind of claim the role from him, other than Matt Ritchie, who's often coming on, in scenarios where Reading were throwing the kitchen sink at it if they had a safe throw, which they sometimes didn't. So that kind of explains that. But yeah, there's a lot to replace, because I'm guessing I'm not on Twitter, so I don't see the rumors. I'm guessing there's no rumors around Kamari Doyle returning.
I mean, he's apparently said he'd like to, but there's lots of things I'd like to do that aren't going to happen.
Right.
And I might just say
what are
that.
they? Tell me some of the things you'd like to do that aren't going to happen.
Well, things that I say I'd like to do, but I don't actually want to do.
Yeah. Or just that aren't going to happen. I was going to say you'd like to watch Wales at the World Cup, but it's not going to happen.
It's too early. It's too early for that. Someone said, "Who do you want to win the World Cup?" And I said, "Anyone but Bosnia." So it's one of those, really. I mean, and that's the annoying thing about it, right? So we were better than Bosnia. Don't get me started, but we were better than Bosnia in the semi. Lost to them because just lost. But we would have beaten Italy as well. I guarantee we would have beaten Italy. We could have been there. Could have been talking about all the World Cup warm-up
who
games.
Did really well for them, Esmir Bayraktarovic. He played for the New England Revolution at the start of his career, so I actually got to see him play a few times, which was kind of fun. But yeah, anyway, Matt Ritchie retires. I'm not worried about losing Matt Ritchie, the player. I'm more worried about losing the numbers behind him. And I just don't know who's going to step into that role, like who's going to come off the bench and give us like some sort of creative option. Because right now, with the roster that we have, I don't particularly see that.
It's very, very difficult to see. I mean, one of the next questions is, if we had to pick. So this is from. I just lost it. Sorry.
Are we in the mailbag here? Are we in a semi-mailbag?
Well, we sort of are. We sort of not. We're in that in between stage. But a lot of the stuff I wanted to talk about was linked to questions anyway. So Surrey CCC. That can't be Surrey County Cricket, can it? I don't know. Anyway, if you had to prioritise 5 positions,
well, here we go.
What would they be? And for Liam to get fans back on side, what's required next season? Well, Liam needs to go.
Manager was my number one.
The only way that Liam's going to get people back on side is if he leaves of his own accord.
Yeah, really. He should have taken the Blackburn.
But in terms of those 5 positions, I mean, is it easier to do the positions or is it easier to do?
I think if you say 5, players, you've almost got like the whole team sorted out. I think that. What do Reading need? Reading need a proper partner for Lewis Wing who is going to work there like full time, who can, Lewis Wing is going to be another year older, and I think that we all feel that the closer we can get him to, higher up the field, the better, just so that we can use more of his on the ball impact. But as the year went on, I think it became clear that Lewis Wing is just also really, really important to Reading's defence, and all those kinds of things. He gets through a lot of work, but he also helps to just organise the team and cover and things like that. So I think that getting a proper partner for him could be the thing. Obviously, Andy Rinomhota is a potential there. I think he's been offered a contract. I don't know if he's accepted it. But in any case, I like the idea of Andy Rinomhota, and we'll see if he can live up to it. But the idea of a central player who can dribble the ball forward is the primary thing, in my opinion, that Reading need. And I don't mind whether that's in central midfield or central defence. I think it can come from anywhere if you set your team up correctly. But I think that Harvey Nibbs is a huge loss from last year. I think the biggest loss from last year was Amadou Mbengue. And that's because we just cannot break the first line through running ever. We always have to pass it around, or at least that's what we saw last season. And Mbengue was able to often punch through a line just by running through it and then deliver the ball out wide or something like that, so that we're now attacking with, maybe the team out of position a little bit more, or running to catch up or something like that. So I would like to see a few players who are comfortable on the ball and who can move with the ball at their feet. I think that the elite leagues last year, the Premier League and all that kind of stuff, were very physicality driven. And we're seeing a lot more man-on-man play than we ever have before, thanks to heated rivalry. But in any case, that was a joke, because the man-on-man play. Anyway, but in any case, I think that we're seeing like a much more physical league, and I think that what you get out of a player who is capable of dribbling the ball, through opposition or stuff like that, is usually a slightly more physical player. I thought that Kamari Doyle at times had some of Reading's best moments of the season by just driving through the middle of the field or something like that. So that kind of player, we probably need a centre back and a centre mid who can do it.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, Kamari Doyle was probably one of the lights in that team.
100%.
I'm still not sure about the overall striking department. Like I think you said weeks ago, but Jack Marriott is probably not going to have the season that he had this past season. Jury's still out on Long Kelvin in terms of him being a striker. So there needs to be additions there. I think that we need a capable backup goalkeeper, and whether that's promoting from within in terms of the under 21s or under 18s. But there is an imbalance in the squad at the moment. There is little to no creativity, as you've just highlighted with the assists going. So they need to get a wriggle on, really. Joe Jacobson said last week, by all accounts, that they were talking to players and they need sort of 5 or 6. I think that's a very conservative estimate, if I'm honest, because I think more players will leave. Charlie Savage, I would imagine, is pretty much there in terms of being gone. I wouldn't be surprised if someone comes in potentially for some of those other more established players. Potentially. You don't know really in terms of what these other clubs are thinking. It has obviously been slow, always is in a World Cup year, or tends to be in a World Cup year for those lower league teams, because they're waiting for the big boys to do their business from the World Cup, and then in terms of the food chain filtering down in loan players and stuff. I just don't know how much sway this football club has now in terms of bringing players in, and the problem really is the style of play. And anyone who's looking at tapes from us last year will go, do I want to be part of that? You think back to when we blew it up over Easter, and we did. We were victims of our own downfall. There was no creativity in that team whatsoever, and that if you're looking for the type of players we are, creative, you're going to look at that and think, can I actually do it in that team? Probably not. Have I got license to do it in that team? Probably not. So it's going to be interesting to see when the first player comes through and who that is and what type of signing, whether that's permanent or on loan.
I will eat my hat if it's not a player that Liam Richardson has coached before, because I think that's going to be the primary thing you're going to see this summer, is a bunch of players that Liam Richardson has coached before. And so whenever you're doing your research or whatever, just go back and check that Wigan team or that Rotherham team. I've still been saying that James McLean will be here by the end of the season.
And that's grossly problematic when he's sacked in October, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know,
well,
he's
yeah.
bringing all these players in off his relationships with them. Someone else comes in October, and it will happen. You know, I would love for myself to be wrong. I would love for us to be top of the table by the end of September, but I just don't see it in this league and with the current standard of play that we've got. So,
No.
you know, it's a good question about recruitment, and that's going to be something that rumbles on over the
I
next
will
few
actually
weeks.
say I don't think we'll lose that many players this summer. I think that Charlie Savage is the obvious one. I think Pereira's just gotten a bit too old. I think that's what's going on with Lewis Wing too, and that Lewis Wing has been consistently
Don't see
at the
Lewis
top
Wing
of
going.
the numbers
Yeah,
in his league for the last few years, and yet doesn't seem to generate doesn't seem to generate rumors from what I hear, let alone anything else. So I think that again, like the profile that teams in higher up leagues are looking for now is younger physical players who are capable of playing that like man on man approach. And a lot of our players don't necessarily suit that anymore. Jack Marriott kind of does, but again, old.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's gonna be going anywhere. So I don't think we'll lose that many players outside of. I think you and I both feel that the club would do very, very well to get Charlie Savage to sign another deal. And with this being the final year of his contract, the smart thing to do as a club would be to cash in on him now and use that partially as part of the drive for the next team. But I think there's going to be a lot of players who were a big part of last season that at least for the first few months are going to be a big part of this season too. I think that Charlie Savage, it would be the right time to move on. And again, I think that
For him personally,
as well as for the club, because I think again what we need right now from a midfielder is someone who can drive the ball forward, with their legs. Something I haven't been able to say with their legs for a while. And that is Charlie has many things. He's especially good with his legs off the ball. He runs like a salmon. Salmon don't run. But
no, they do. They run upstream.
Right. They run upstream. Yeah, into a bear's mouth.
Into a bear's mouth.
If none of you, if you guys don't, by the way, I'm back on Instagram because I do the In the Pines thing now, and I've been really enjoying following Ben because every single story of Ben's is just like a hippo or a badger or some big animal making his way across like the.
I put a wolf up the other day. I love a wolf.
Yeah.
My daughter is adamant that she wants to get a dwarf hamster, those kind of grey ones with the go fast stripe. So we've been kind of mulling over that to add to the Noah's Ark that we've already got.
That's pretty good.
I'm trying to think of names. I came up with the name Moose because I think Moose is a great name for a little hamster.
That's a very Maine name for a hamster as well. Actually, it's very, very good. Real quick Maine animal story. My dog got porcupine quilled for the first time this year. Yeah, we've had a bobcat in the yard. We've seen an eagle already this year. I've seen a pelican.
Pelican.
A pelican. I saw a pelican last week. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're cool. They're very good. I was down south, so that's not something you get in Maine. I was
going to say, I don't think that's.
I've seen a pelican, which was very, very cool. But no,
Porcupine
my dog.
needles are like that, aren't they?
They're
proper...
huge. They're absolutely massive. And we
don't
had
talk
to
about
go
needles
to the
actually.
vet to get them like properly removed because the dog was like, "I will murder you if you touch that quill one more time." So yeah, keep your dogs away from porcupines, listeners in Tilehurst.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, we got loads of red kites here. Anyone who's in Reading will know about.
And their quills are dangerous too.
Beaks of death, quite literally. Let's talk about the World Cup then, because we've got World Cup fever. We're both being slightly ill. Me very borderline, but we've got World Cup fever, so we're going to get into that after this short break. Right, welcome back to a very belated episode 461. Thank you for joining us. It's nice to have you. Nice to have you watching our faces and listening to our dulcet tones on a podcast platform of your choice.
Yes.
Ross has got a little surprise for us. So hopefully this will come out well audio-wise, but even better if you're watching on YouTube. So you got the stickers. I've got my book. Have you got a book? Is your book like that, or is it a bit different?
Do you know what's bad? I don't have the book, and I should have the book.
Oh, because,
yeah, I know this is stupid. So I'll tell you a couple of things. The book is the book free?
I got mine in like the starter pack, but do you know what's really weird is that I've not bought any for absolutely ages. They're so expensive over here.
They're so expensive now.
£1.25 for 7.
I mean, you know, I like women's football too, so I was buying a lot of
USA look.
WSL ones. There you go. So I was spending money on the WSL ones while I was back in England. I do have a pack of stickers, so let's go
on, rip
looking
it.
for some X Royals. Let me get that rip on. Yeah.
You open them really weird. I open them down.
Oh, you open it down. I always open up the top. All right, here we go. We're looking for. Does that Iranian ex-royal still play as Saeed Etzal?
Well, you're going to spoil the next segment if you carry on talking.
All right. Well, I won't. I
don't know if he's in the book actually. Hold on. Let me go.
All right. You guys can learn at the same time as me.
Who's that?
Diego Costa.
I've got a fun fact about Portugal as well.
Okay. Well,
Oh, you got a free digital pack. That's good.
Ah, that's all right. I hadn't seen those yet. That's kind of cool, isn't it?
Who's that?
Who we got?
Balerdi. Okay. Leonardo Balerdi. He's upside down.
Uzbek. Yes.
Yeah, the worst kit going. That
is a bad kit, isn't it? It looks like PE. We've got.
I don't know. I can't read that. I don't know that.
Igor Sergeev from Persepolis FC. So,
Uzbekistan.
Sergey fans get on that. Oh, who's this? We got an American. Freeman. Not a great American. Orlando City, who are a kind of middling MLS team. So that's not so good. Who else have we got here? Let's see. Oh, I've got to turn these up and down. One of the worst teams at the tournament.
Packed.
Paraguay. These are.
Do you reckon they're the worst team?
Yeah, I think they're one of the worst teams at the tournament. Yeah. I just got a rack in my World Cup sweepstakes, so I mean, I'm screwed.
Give your money back. Just throw it in the air. Throw it in the bush.
Give it right back. What we got here? Oh, okay, Bombito. Okay,
didn't make the squad.
Who didn't? Oh, he didn't.
Raging, mate.
Raging, absolutely raging.
Not even taking him as a water boy. Disgusting.
And then we have someone called Patrick Pence in here as well. So
that's a nice name.
That is a nice name, isn't it? So a bunch of nothing. No ex-royals or anything like that.
Well, I've got the real thing I want to talk about, the thing that everyone's talking about at the World Cup.
Yeah.
Which you will know about this. Portugal taking 4 goalkeepers in their squad.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What's the point?
I mean, Portugal are taking Cristiano Ronaldo, so they're taking a Gardner as well.
But 4 keepers.
Have you been? Yeah, I know that is insane. Have you been following I know Roberto Martinez is now for the 3rd tournament in a row going. This is why we have to keep Cristiano in the team and blah blah blah. And I won't allegedly, according to even Tony, allegedly Ronaldo has basically just scammed his way to a Saudi Pro League because he couldn't win it fairly. Allegedly. These are all things that are alleged. They didn't, and I'm just nonsense from rumors, obviously. But, there's been some speculation about the refereeing in the Saudi Pro League, let's put it that way, in the first season that has led to Cristiano winning a title. It's just so crazy that in the year of our Lord 2026, this amount of appeasement still happens for Cristiano Ronaldo. I know, Messi is over here and doing his big commercial thing too, but my word, that man at least, well, actually I guess his team are kind of cheating the roster rules too, so who knows. Oh well. Reading links.
Yeah, Reading links. So this took me a long time. I had to go through every single squad up to date.
Jesus.
So this is what I've come up with, and if I've missed any, please get in touch because I'm fascinated. So I've managed to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players, and 2 managers with Reading connections.
Okay. Very good.
I was going to do this as a quiz, but I thought I'll just tell. Is it better if I tell people?
No, do it as a quiz because actually I don't have a quiz today, and then I can. So do you want to give me the team, and I'll tell you who I think it is?
Okay, I'll give you the team.
Yeah.
Right, so there's 10 players, not outfield, just players, full stop.
Yep.
And then there's 2 managers, right?
Okay. Oh, I know I know one of the managers right off the bat. Should I just rip that off?
Yeah.
Steve Clark.
Right, that's one.
Yeah.
There is another player with Reading connections for Scotland.
There is another player of Reading connections for Scotland.
It's a tough one because to my knowledge, he never played for the first team.
Yeah, that is a tough one. I'm trying to. Oh gosh. Oh man, I don't want to tap out on the first one. I had Steve Clark at least already. Can
I'm
I?
not. I'm not going to give you any life. We just go through it. I'm gonna give you the team in order.
Yeah,
And you just
yeah,
tell
yeah.
me.
That's
If
fine.
you don't
That's
know,
fine.
that's fine.
Trying to think of just any Scottish player who played for Reading now. No, he was English. I think Tom McIntyre. No, he hasn't gone. Come on now.
Dom Hyam.
Oh yeah, I would never. We would have been here until the end of the cup. So that's
Right. The next one is this. This chap plays for. I don't think I say this right. Caracau.
Oh, Leandro Bacuna.
Yeah. How do you say it?
Curacao, I guess. I don't really know either. When I was just doing the live stream for the sweepstake earlier, when that team came up, I just tried to say the word as little as possible because I have no idea. Best team in the cup, Cabo Verde. The only team with two ways of saying their name is something that everyone has been saying, which is complete nonsense because everyone calls the Ivory Coast Côte d'Ivoire. So, what? Anyway.
I've got it horribly wrong. I meant 9 players and 3 managers. The next one is a manager. Kind of gives it away a bit. Ivory Coast.
Emers Faye, is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's the gaffer. He's the gaffer.
Well,
I like Ivory Coast. I think they're going to do all right in this tournament.
Oh, you do? Okay. I've been more on Senegal from the African nations. I got to see. I went to MetLife last year.
Right, don't show
where
off.
the finals being held to watch a Premier League, like a set of Premier League friendlies, and it was really good. Yeah, it was good because like, what they do is with those ones they try to make sure that the teams actually play their real team. So you do get to see like the actual first team play rather than like preseason things where it's just like a bunch of nonsense. And I got to see Semenyo back then, which was amazing. Great player. The player who really stood out to me that I really enjoyed watching was Iliman Ndiaye. Because I got to see Everton play, and what a player he is. Like I think Ismaila Sarr, as we've seen before, unfortunately, is also a great player for Senegal. But yeah, Nicholas Jackson in the middle of Sarr, Mane and Ndiaye, take your pick. Like I think that's a really good front line.
They've got some good players. They have got some good players.
All right, next one.
So next one, Netherlands.
Oh, Nathan Ake.
Yeah. Maisie got picked, if I'm honest.
Yeah, he's versatile, isn't he? He's very versatile. Season. Yeah.
Next one is Sweden.
Sweden? And he's a player?
No.
Oh. Okay, so hang on a minute. Well, what did Graham Potter do at Reading? Because I don't remember this.
Well, Sim said he played for it. I don't know. Okay. People need to check that. Older listeners might know. I don't remember him playing for Reading.
This up right now. Yes,
don't
he played 4 games on loan for Reading.
When? What year?
Learned everything he knows from us. 1999. Saw the Millennium Bug coming and got the F out of Dodge.
He played 4 games in 19... I don't remember that.
Big connection right there.
Okay, whatever. Next one is Iran, the big man. The legend.
Big man, Saeed Etzatalahi, he's still in that squad.
He's in the sticker book as well.
He'll be in that squad until the country burns to the ground, which might not be that much longer.
What a player. What a player he is. He was so good in the 8 games or whatever that he played. He was fantastic. I think I even put him in my all-time 11, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think you did. It was crazy. I was like, what are you doing?
But, next one's beyond easy, and if you don't get this, we're cancelling the whole thing. New Zealand.
Amadou Mbenge. It's Tyler Bindon, my boy.
It is.
Who, by the way, after they lost, if you're not worried about England yet, England suffered to a 1-0 victory over New Zealand, who then promptly went out and lost 4-0 to Haiti in their next game. So, I mean...
Yeah, it's not being great for them.
Worrying, isn't it, really?
Another easy one, hopefully. France.
Michael Elise.
Yeah, little lad called Elise. Never heard of him.
Yeah.
Norway.
So this is the one that I knew and I went and looked up because it's so odd. But Orjan Nyland is...
Plays for Seville.
Seville, yeah. He's the starting keeper for this Norway side. Everything I have heard about Nyland since he left Reading is that he has just done exceptionally well in La
It's the only
Liga.
one who has.
It is madness. Like it's like if you go and look at his transfer value like chart that like plots, you know, going up and down over his career, it has his peak like way earlier ago when like he still might have turned into a really good prospect or something. And then as it comes down, it reaches its nadir with us, obviously, because he was pants for us. And then just rocks almost all the way back up to his like highest level ever with Sevilla, and he's done exceptionally well with Sevilla. He didn't get as many games last year as he did, you know, in previous years because he's been injured, but still.
And he gets to chat to Haaland, which is madness.
Yeah, he's buddies with. Did you see their Viking photo shoot? By the way,
Yeah, it's good.
I know they've done like 16. They seem to be spending all their pre-World Cup stuff just doing photo shoots. The Norwegian team.
Did you see their acclimatization session where they just laid down and sunbathed and kicked the ball around barefoot? Brilliant.
They're just there for
that.
fun, aren't they? Everyone's
why
talking
not?
about them as like dark horses and stuff, and I think they might do a bit pants. To be honest with you, like
They could get out of the group, but
the problem with like your best player being your striker is that you've got to get the ball to him first. So yeah. Anyway, any others?
where we are? Oh, so Argentina.
Oh, I'm way off now. Oh, my word! I don't know. I thought you were going to say Ghana, and then I would have had a better idea.
Well, that's the next one.
That's the next one. Well, Ghana is Baba Rahman. Argentina. Who was the kid who played in defense for us?
I'm laughing, but you're going to kill yourself when you know.
I'm going to kill myself for that.
No, you're not going to kill yourself. That's dramatic. You're going to kick yourself, not kill
I'm going to
yourself.
kick myself for this. Oh, no. Oh, I really should be able to get this, and I just can't. Ulysses de la Cruz.
Martinez.
Oh, idiot, Ross. What you... Everyone was screaming at me for that one. That's really, really bad. He's one of my favourites. Oh, that's really
bad. You
bad.
got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You did all right.
I did all right, but I should have done better. I missed Emmy, a player who I've literally voted for player of the season before. So that's gone well.
You got 10 out of 12.
All right. I don't think Steve Clark should count because it was too easy, but yeah. Where do you think Steve Clark's Scotland will end up?
Well, I mean, what's going to be a recurring theme of these pods in the summer is we're going to do a little World Cup debrief because it's nice to chat football in general.
Yeah.
We're not going to have much to talk about with Reading. The next pod I want to talk about, so do your research on this one, Ross, is kits. Which kits have you seen that you like, blah, blah, blah. But in terms of kind of early predictions, and I cop out a little bit because I don't make any predictions until the group's done because we've seen over the years that, you know, there was that one where Spain and Germany went out in the group stage. It blows the bracket wide open. In terms of Scotland, I mean, they are, you know, they're up against it with Brazil and Morocco. They're two. I mean, Brazil, I think, are going to be there or thereabouts. Morocco, I think you can't look past at least one of the African sides in terms of climate, you know, fitness, conditions, style of play, everything else. Haiti, they should be fine with. If they win a game, I think it's good for them. I've got nothing against Scotland. I think there's some good players in that team, but they're going to be very hard pushed to get out of that group. You don't see them beating Brazil. Very unlikely to beat Morocco.
Yeah.
Stupid. Tournament football is tournament football. You never know. You know, we've had shocks over the years in World Cup that we wouldn't have expected. They could be one of them, but I don't see them.
I see them struggling a bit for sure. I think that the conditions are going to be just like a huge part of this World Cup, and I think that the teams that can play boring horseshoe of sadness football, i.e. France, England, and I don't think England are going to win this. But I think that those are the teams that are going to do well because honestly, they're not going to have. If France go out and they win their games but they stink the place up much as they've done in recent tournaments, yes, they're going to have like their fans on their back, but their fans are going to be saying this is like what we've seen before. It's not going to be like, oh, what are you doing? Why aren't you playing properly? Like all these things. I just think the pressure on teams that have already got their fans used to playing a
100%.
more reserved style is going to be
Yeah,
less.
100%.
And I think the less pressure you can get on yourself in this World Cup, because it's so long. Like, it's like 7 weeks long or something like that you have to be like, you have to be there for almost 2 months if you want to win this thing. So I think that it's just, the teams that can both make themselves not have to run all the time, that's going to be a huge thing, because it's June now, right? The World Cup starts today. If when you're listening to this, it's only going to get hotter here for the next like month. So as the World Cup goes on, you just get hotter and hotter and hotter, and you just can't play like high exciting football. Like, I'm quite low on Spain because they have knocks to their dynamic players, and I think that's going to be a real problem for them as the games start piling on. So we'll see.
I think with Spain, they got an opportunity to play some good football in the group. They've got Cape Verde, they've got Saudi Arabia, who I think have got the nicest kit, by the way. That white kit is unreal. Yeah. And Uruguay. So they've got an opportunity really to flex their muscles in the group stage and iron out any technical difficulties they may have. I think, out of sheer perverse enjoyment, I'm looking at Group B and I'm thinking Canada, Bosnia, Qatar and Switzerland. That is an absolute bloodbath of bang average teams that honestly any one of those teams could go through. Any one of those. That's the only group I'd look at and go, there's no standout team at all. Canada you'd hope or expect as hosts, in inverted commas. But other than that, I
love watching Canada. Canada are fun to watch, and I like Jesse Marsh
he's good.
as well. I think Switzerland have quietly turned into a very good team, though. I think they were in... No, they weren't in the first part. They were in the second part, but Switzerland have quietly turned into a really good team. The USA have been doing okay, pretty well in their recent fixtures, and they got absolutely demolished by Switzerland last year. Switzerland just completely took them to the cleaners in the first 30 minutes and then just saw the game out, basically. So I think Switzerland are quite a good team. But other than that, yeah, I'd agree. I think the USA's group is very weak because I don't think the US are that good. I think Turkey are probably the best best team in that group. So that should be interesting. England have really ended up on the worst side of the draw is the primary thing to note, because they're on the same side of the draw as Portugal, Argentina, France, and Spain. So if England are going to win, which they're not, they're going to do it in style, I suppose.
I think in terms of where we're at with England, obviously I don't care, couldn't care less really. I'm not against them, but I definitely don't want to win the thing. He says, it's one of those. It is going to be an interesting tournament, despite all of the the political stuff going on and the issues, and there are issues, can't get away from them.
Big time.
I think there is. It's a field that is very, very open, and there isn't one team for me that's going to stand out at the moment.
Completely
I can't
agree.
see that.
I'm not excited.
France, we talked about.
I'm not super excited about the fact that it's like that this much bigger. The only thing that's good for me with that is kind of the group stage and getting even more. Like, there are days here where I can watch 5 games.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's so cool. But I think a lot of these games are going to be pretty naff. It's
good for you. Like, you can sit there and just go, yeah, crack on. I mean, for us, it's a little bit more complicated.
It's late for you guys, yeah. It's definitely late.
So I've had to really map that out and go, when am I going to have a late night? When am I going to get up at sort of 4 or 5 in the morning to watch the game? So it's tricky.
Let's finish this off then with what is your... Okay, 3 questions. What is a group stage game that you're most excited about? 2, what is your prediction for where England, where they will finish? And then the third one has completely slipped my mind, so I'll see if I remember that while you're answering the other questions. But I can go right off the rip with the game I'm looking forward to most, if you like. It's in Group I, but it's not the France versus Norway game. It's not the France versus Norway game. The Norway versus Senegal game looks like a belter to me, because I think France will win that group regardless of the level of quality they show in those games. I think Norway versus Senegal, I think both of those teams will end up going through because of the way that the third place thing works here, because I think all 3 of them will beat Iraq, who I've just picked up in the freaking sweeps. I've just seen fucking Oh, I just see what group they're in. But anyway,
It's group of
I
death, quite
think
literally.
yeah, it's screwed. But I think Senegal versus Norway is going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to that.
I mean, the standout one really is France and Senegal, isn't it?
Or France and Senegal, or France and Norway.
France and Senegal, I think.
Okay,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a nice match up there in terms of styles. I mean, in terms of an absolute, from an absolute sicko's point of view, it's got to be Uzbekistan and Congo, hasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Like when would you ever? And I know people go, it's the World Cup, but when would you ever get those teams against each other?
Have
like
they ever played against each other before?
I don't know.
I love it. Yeah. What does an
that's
Uzbekistani
disgusting.
say to a person from Cabo Verde? Hopefully something friendly.
Yeah, polite.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of serious games, I think there's some nice games in Group F. You got Netherlands and Japan. I think will be a nice game. I'm genuinely interested to see how your second team. I don't know if you're 50-50 America and England. I don't know, but I'm interested to see how a game like America and Australia goes. I think again, it's about styles, isn't it? And they'll both be all right with the climate, or should be all right with the climate in terms of those conditions. So it's always nice to see how one of the host teams come out the block straight away. I think that's one of the early games, isn't it? America and Australia in that group. So there are some really, really good games in terms of England.
Yep.
If it goes to plan, I can't see them getting past Mexico.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Mexico are rubbish.
But they'll be at home in Mexico City. It'll be 1:00 in the morning for here. So there's a knock-on mental effect in terms of supporters and family members and all that kind of stuff. I'm probably talking rubbish. I just can't see. I've heard a lot of people go, I think England can do it. That defence for me, and the way that some of those seasons have panned out individually, I think is absolute garbage, that defence.
I think...
Why taking Jed Spence? Like, what kind of season has he had for Spurs? and Livramento, I don't think he's played much, has he?
Well, Livramento, what is he on the left side, I guess?
Gay's dropped off a cliff since he's joined Man City.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. But I think England, just because of their style, will do okay. Like, I think that Croatia are very, very old, and that's going to be a big problem for them. Because but they're
always old. Every tournament they turn up, they're old.
I know, and then they show up again. Like, it's here they are, all the boys. It's Perisic and Modric.
I don't see Ghana being an issue. I don't see Panama being an issue at all.
No, Panama are not an issue. So I think that England will go through winners, obviously, and then it's kind of just like charting who you think they'll get from there. So you think, what is that in the round of? Is that in the round of 32 they would run into Mexico? I'm not worried about that. I am more concerned. So I think England could end up getting one of the best ranked third place teams, because I think England will light Panama up and potentially get 2 or 3 past Ghana as well. So they may end with one of the best records as any of the group leaders. So I'm kind of thinking that we will make it through. So what you've got oh god, lovely stuff. That you got a game on July 4th. Don't worry, I'll cut out a lot of this. I'm literally just working it out as I go along. But you've got a game for them. So Group L. There's a winner from Group L. Yeah, they play a third place team, which could be anyone. Easy win for me. And then, yeah, you're right. They would then have to go through Mexico in Mexico City in the round of 16. I think they win that game. Mexico are not good. Mexico, they've won the Gold Cup in the last couple of years because America has also been not very good.
You think about the passion that there is in Mexico for this game, and that wave will carry him. I really do. I might be wrong.
I think it ends for England when they meet France in the quarterfinal. I think it's the same story as last time out. I think that England are a team that they're trying to change now under Tuchel to a degree, but I think that England are a team that are basically a mini version of France under Raymond Domenech, and they're just the little brother. They're just not as good, unfortunately. Like, at the end of the day, Michael Olise is a better player than Bukayo Saka, and Ousmane Dembele is a better player than anything that England can put out other than Harry Kane, basically.
You know, not taking Cole Palmer and Gibbs White, I think is crazy.
Cole Palmer, I don't mind. Gibbs White, a little bit frustrating.
Would you want to, you know, say the game's 1-0, would you want Cole Palmer coming on the last 20 minutes? I wouldn't.
Yes, but I would have taken one of those players over Eza, not over any of the players out on the left side. So I can kind of understand. Like Rodgers and Bellingham are definitely the top two for the number 10 position. So I think past that, why take any others when you can, Eza? I would have probably just brought Gibbs White because he can play out wide as well. But hey, anyway.
Listen, I am listening. All I'm going to say is, look, this, I don't know if you can see this. Like, this is my Jordan page.
This is your Jordan page.
Look at the state of that. Right?
We are Jordan.
Yeah. And then you go to Uzbekistan, right? Look at this. Can't get enough of them.
Yeah. Get those Uzbeks all over it. We are Jordan is what the Star was saying during the
England.
Peter Andre
I don't know
breakup.
in England.
There you go. Look at us. Look at Anthony Gordon's face. God, that man is going to burn like a tomato in Barcelona.
Barcelona, by the way.
I know. It is good player. Very good player out of possession, and it shows you the way football's going, doesn't it? Everyone's trying to build their out of possession formation. Anyway, I think England will make it to the quarters. I told my parents over and over again that they would win because it's funny to get their hopes up. But no, we'll be out in the quarters most likely. Hopefully I'm wrong. Who knows? Last question for you then. What is the final? Yeah. I'll give you mine if you like to get
I haven't looked at the
Let me
map.
send you the map real quick so you can go and take a look at it. But once I've done that, I will give my... I think that it will be France versus Brazil in the final, and I think France will win. I think Brazil are quietly a bit better than they have been in recent years. I think that Carlo Ancelotti is just about the only person on the planet who can manage Vinicius Jr. So that's going to help him massively. He's going to have an onside Vinny Jr. through this tournament. And Vinny has been poor for Brazil his entire Brazil career. And him coming good for them could change all of their hopes very quickly. I think that Igor Thiago is an excellent striker. I think that strikers are more important in international tournaments than they are in club football. I was surprised they didn't take Joao Pedro because I think he's a fantastic player, but it suggests to me that Carlo's got a very clear idea of how he wants his team to play. The worry for Brazil is their defensive cover. So their actual center backs are great in Marquinhos and Gabriel, obviously. Their fullbacks are relatively weak Brazilian Premier League players, and they have Casemiro in their base as well, so they don't have tons and tons of legs in there. But I think Bruno Guimaraes is one of the best, one of the most underrated players on the planet. So I think that midfield of, I think it's basically, Casemiro, Bruno Guimaraes, and Lucas Paqueta is excellent. I think that is a very good technical midfield. When they're on the ball, it's going to be about what they can do when they're off the ball. But anyway, that's my reasoning for Brazil finally emerging from their slumber as giants. I don't need to give you a reason why France will make the World Cup.
I still think I still think Spain and France.
I
think Spain will surprise a number of people. I think they'll get going in a group stage and then they'll go from there.
Spain
and France.
Spain are my prediction to have a pretty meh tournament, but I could very well be wrong because they have a very easy group. So you're right, they could just get going and really kick on from there. But yeah, one other quick shout. I will say that I think Japan make the semi-final.
Yeah,
I think Japan are brilliant.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at the record, they beat England at Wembley, didn't they?
They're good at beating big teams. They beat Spain in the World Cup as well last time out. Like they have a good pedigree against good teams.
But didn't they beat Brazil recently?
I think they did. Yeah, like they're just solid. And they've been under the same manager since I think 2018. So yeah, just like a really solid team. And I have so much respect for Just the way in which Japanese football culture has changed over the last like 30 years and what they've been able to do. I got to meet the Hearts star player is Japanese. He came from the second J League. Lovely guy, like really lovely guy. Was nice enough to do the fan thing and take a photo with me after I'd been chit
Yeah,
chatting
yeah,
away with him for a little bit. But just the way in which Japanese people think about football and the way in which they love it.
yeah.
But they love it
Culture
as
as
a
well.
collective activity, not
Yeah,
whereas I think that a
exactly.
lot of Europeans and South Americans and we obviously acknowledge and know it as a team sport, and we do our best. We play our best football when we play it as a team sport. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of us also like it when we do something really cool individually. In Japan, they seem to just have this team over self mentality that works very well for football.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up episode 461.
61, yeah, yeah.
We're back. We're back rolling. We'll be back next week. We'll do some World Cup stuff. We'll do some Ready News, 50-50. We've got a couple of guests coming as well. We need to firm those up really. In the meantime,
Yes.
I hope you've enjoyed this one. Enjoy the start of the World Cup at the back end of this week. Love to the dogs, Ross. Hopefully
Thank you
there's
so
no more
much.
porcupine incidents.
I'll take him out to the woods right after this, so I'll let you know what happens.
See a raccoon or something.
Yeah, yeah. Raccoon would be all right.
Yeah, exactly. It's a long summer. It's a long summer of football, off until July the 18th now with the World Cup. Obviously, Reading getting back into it towards the end of this month, early into next. It will heat up. It always does. We'll get there at some point with all the news and sign-ins and all the rest of it. So enjoy it, the peace while you can. We'll be back next week with episode 462. In the meantime, as always, come on you Ars.